Hi guys, so I've just done the two EEPROM sockets on Chaz, and I thought we'd have a quick chat about sockets. So as you'll know, there are two commonly used types of sockets: dual wipes and turn pins. Which you use is personal preference. There is no reason normally to use one over the other if you're working with brand new chips, and there are holy wars on this subject, and this is just my personal opinion on them. So the short version is, if you are using brand new chips with good legs, turn pin all the way. If you're using something with bent pins or that's been soldered into a board, dual wipe without question. So the reasoning behind this is the way the pins are formed. So if we start with the dual wipe, and you'll see a quick video clip on your screen now of the pin mechanism. So you have the pins shaped in this sort of layout. Your pin goes in and we're gripping on the front and the back of the pin. That's only two contact points. As things get oxidized and start to corrode just with age, obviously you've only got two contact points. You'll lose one, then you'll lose the other, and you'll see a lot of restorers, including me on this video, where we just take things out, clean the sockets up, and sometimes the sockets get replaced just because. That's the failing of dual wipe. However, the contacts in dual wipe are a lot more flexible and a lot more tolerant of bent pins and pins with solder on. Again, video now, and you'll see that the pins on this chip are not straight, there's solder on them, and they will fit a lot easier and a lot better into a dual wipe. Pins with large amounts of solder on will not even go into a turn pin. So if you're replacing if you're socketing a chip you've just removed from the board, that's where you'll want to use the dual wipe. An example of someone that uses dual wipes quite heavily for that is Luke Morse on his arcade board repairs. If you buy sockets from AliExpress, eBay, Amazon, any of those kind of places, then even if they tell you they're turned pin, it's quite likely what you're going to get is dual wipe. So look at the images carefully and check. Turn pin. So the only two usage cases where you absolutely must or should use turn pins are when you have brand new chips, the leads are perfectly formed, or you've got a forming tool, and then life will be so much easier and more reliable with the turn pin. Any equipment that's going to be exposed to noise and vibration, again, turn pin, you have at least three, some of them you have four, and some of them you have a continuous ring of contact round the pin. There's a video just running and you can just about see those contacts in there. They will grip the pins better, they will hold on to the chip, however they are way more sensitive to pin alignment, and if you try and put a chip in with badly aligned pins or solder on the pins, it's quite likely you're going to bend a pin either out or underneath the chip. If you bend a pin underneath the chip, you may not see it, and they can cause some wonderfully random faults, because quite often you'll put enough force in that that chip will touch and it will make contact. However, after a few days of use or after a bit of vibration, that pin will stop making contact. You'll drag it out to find out what the problem is. The act of moving the board out of wherever it is will make that contact again. And to give you an example of why you use turn pins in those situations, in a former life I worked for a company that manufactured crash test systems. We expected our boards to routinely pull over 100G, and we had to have a socket of EEPROM on there. So the way we approached it was a turn pin socket, and we soldered the four corners. We could wick out the four corners, left the chip out and change the EEPROM, no problem, but 100G we had no failures on those sockets. In the same situation, a dual wipe would cause errors. So there are good reasons to use either type depending on what you're doing, and for the majority of stuff that people are doing, actually the dual wipes are good enough. Turn pins, especially good ones from a reputable source such as these ones here that come from RS, are not especially cheap, especially if you're looking at larger ones and compared to dual wipes. So think about what you're doing. If it's old chips that have been removed from boards, you have bent pins, go for these. If it's cheap and you're not overly worried about the fact that there may be a problem in 10-15 years, go for these. If it's something that has to be 100% reliable and they're new chips, go for the turn pins. If it's somewhere where NVH is a problem, go for the turn pins. So choose the right socket rather than just say, I'm going to use all turn pins, I can't be bothered to pay for turn pins, I'm going to use dual wipes. Both have their uses and you'll get the best result by actually picking the right socket for the right job. Anyway, that's my opinion out of the way, and take care.